It's time now for your starts and sits for Week 15 for CBS Local Sports. I'm Jamey Eisenberg, that's Dave Richard, and that is Heath Cummings. And we're going to give you some quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends that you should start, as well as some guys you should avoid. Let's start with the quarterbacks. Who do we got?
I like Kirk Cousins. I think he's a top 10 quarterback this week. Love the get-right matchup at home against a bad Dolphins defense. They've allowed 21-plus fantasy points to a quarterback in 4 straight games, 27 or more in their last 3. Kirk Cousins is in a good place here. He could have a very good game. Get him in your lineup.
You know who's not in a good place? Aaron Rodgers. That place is Chicago. The Bears have not given up more than 20 fantasy points to a starting quarterback in the last 7 games. And Rodgers hasn't been all that special himself this year. Find somebody else to start in Week 15.
Amazing that we're saying to sit Aaron Rodgers, and even more amazing who we're saying to start at running back.
Start Doug Martin. This Bengals defense has been destroyed by opposing running backs. 9 different running backs in the last 8 weeks have at least 14 non-PPR fantasy points. Doug Martin's going to make it 10 this week.
I'm going to sit Sony Michel of the Patriots. The last couple of games, he hasn't looked great. Certainly the numbers have bore that out. And we've seen James Devlin score 3 touchdowns in those 2 games. Big scoring matchup against the Steelers. I think it's going to be Tom Brady doing the work, not Sony Michel.
Bill Belichick does not like our fantasy teams. But what about Cam Newton? Does he like this wide receiver?
He likes DJ Moore. 8 targets or more in each of his last 4 games. He's giving you a nice safe floor of 10 PPR fantasy points in each of those. And the Saints have allowed 12 or more PPR fantasy points to a #1 receiver in each of their last 3 games. The Saints defense is on the road for the 3rd straight week. I like DJ Moore as a low-end #2 wide receiver.
Alshon Jeffrey just had his first good game in fantasy since Golden Tate arrived on the Eagles, and now Carson Wentz is gone. I do not want to start Alshon Jeffrey with Nick Foles at quarterback. There are too many mouths to feed in this offense as it is.
All in on the Panthers. DJ Moore and this tight end.
Ian Thomas loved his targets, and we just have to take whatever we can get from the tight end position. It is a difficult matchup against New Orleans, but we also just saw Cameron Brate score against this defense twice, so I don't think they're invincible. I don't think Cam Newton's shoulder is right either, so be more short area targets, which should favor Thomas.
Like fantasy points? Then don't start Jimmy Graham. He's given you 5 or fewer in 4 of his last 5 games, and that's in PPR leagues. Look at that sad face he's got. That's you if you start Jimmy Graham this week. He's not going to get a lot of work against the Bears. It's a tough matchup for him, and he's been playing poorly. Sit him down.
All right, to recap, the guys that we like: Kirk Cousins, Doug Martin, DJ Moore, and Ian Thomas. The guys to avoid: Aaron Rodgers, Sony Michel, Alshon Jeffrey, and Jimmy Graham. These have been your starts and sits for Week 15. Good luck in your fantasy matchups.